Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I can't see you, but hopefully you can all see me. I'm Dr. Aparicio Ting. I'm the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Health and Science Education at the Cumming School of Medicine, but I'm also have the privilege of being the director for the Health and Society, or for the Bachelor's of Health Sciences Honors Program. And that's what we're here to give you some information about tonight. I'm joined by, and hopefully you can see, Jennifer Logan, who is our program coordinator and does the student advising. So we're both here to answer your questions, but I will actually go through a little bit of the presentation first, and some of your questions might get answered as we go along. But if not, there'll be lots of time at the end as well. So before we begin, oh, it's not letting me change slides here. Oh, there we go. All right, so before we begin, I just want to do our territorial acknowledgement. So we always want to be mindful that we are paying both respect and honoring the lands on which we get to live, work, play, and at the University of Calgary to learn and thrive. So the University of Calgary is located in the heart of Southern Alberta and both acknowledges and pays tribute to the traditional territories of the peoples of Treaty 7, which include the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of the Siksika, the Kainai First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda, which include the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations. And the city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. I will call your attention to the photograph that our acknowledgement is on. So this is actually a ridge located on Siksika land behind Blackfoot Crossing Historical Park. If you had really keen vision, and a little bit off to your right in the valley there is actually the site of the signing of Treaty 7. So this is a very special place, and we actually visit this in a field trip with our senior health and society students. So just wanted to share that a little bit. Okay, so let's start with a little information about what the program actually offers. So the BHSC program is an inquiry-based program that is focused on building research skills amongst a host of other skills amongst undergraduates with a focus on health. It takes a very interdisciplinary approach. And besides actually building research skills, we also focus on things like collaboration, accountability, ethical research practices. So you'll get to learn a little bit more about that as we go along tonight. So hopefully you will have seen we offer 3 majors within the program. And when you apply to the program, you actually select a major into which you will come in. The 3 majors are bioinformatics, biomedical sciences, and health and society. So let's start with the health and society major. The health and society major is a very unique major across health sciences programs in Canada, actually most of North America. The focus is on building public health competencies, knowledge and attitudes and skills, as well as having a very explicit focus on the social determinants of health as well as health equity. So within this major, students are able to explore a wide range of different health issues of their own choosing, but they're all anchored within the knowledge foundation that we provide through our courses. And what's also very special about this program is in their second year, health and society majors get to select a social science concentration. And this is because social sciences are very critical to how we actually do public health. So we need all of these various perspectives along with a health science perspective. So they do health science courses as well as choose a concentration in one of these areas, which are offered at the University of Calgary. Oh, sorry about that. The biomedical sciences major has a bit of a different slant. So health and society is looking at kind of populations and people and individuals. Well, biomedical sciences is actually coming from the inside out. So it's looking at the basic biomedical and molecular underpinnings of health. So it focuses on laboratory sciences, laboratory research, and the tools that you need to do that. So again, the breadth of research here is very broad. So health research encompasses quite a range, but it can include everything from molecular biology and genetics. So really working on like at the cellular level to immunology and neuroscience, which takes it up to more of a physiological level, or focusing on things like cardiovascular health or cancer biology. So that allows also students to explore health from a disease paradigm. So we have, you see the picture that's posted on the slide here. This is like a picture of one of our own teaching labs. So we have a really nice teaching lab space for all of our students. And this allows us to keep up to date with the latest innovations in health research, and make sure that our students are actually being equipped with those very important key laboratory research skills. And the third major is bioinformatics. So this major is actually at the intersection of computer science and biology. So there is some of those foundational computer science skills, but also an understanding of biology and the health sciences. So that can be again, as detailed as molecular biology and genetics. So you might be working in the area of genomics, or a lot of bioinformaticians are actually moving into the areas of public health and big data management. So working with large population-based data sets. All of the courses in the bioinformatics realm are quite applied because of the nature of the discipline. So you learn how to use this high performance cluster computers. So that's the picture on the right there, which we offer at the University of Calgary for our students to actually learn how to work with very large volumes of data. We students also work on both using bioinformatics tools, but also creating new tools. So working with software, and that's where those computer science skills comes in handy to kind of create those interfaces that researchers can use to do the big data analysis. And then of course, things like machine learning and AI algorithms. So there's sky's the limit with bioinformatics. It's a very in-demand discipline, and a very one of the majors that we're really proud of. So I just want to very briefly touch on our learning outcomes. And this is just to really demonstrate that while you can see the last two on this bullet list are foundational knowledge and the application of your disciplinary perspective. So those two learning outcomes are really about, learning, having the knowledge you need in your specific major that that you've chosen, so that you can do health research in a very specific area. But if you'll notice, all of the other skills are quite what we call transferable. So these are actually really important skills that employers are looking for in graduates that go beyond just knowing the science and how to do it. So things like having the ability to be a critical thinker, being able to work efficiently and effectively with others, having those really strong presentation and other written communication skills, um, that allows you to actually take what you learn from the research and translate it for others, whether that's in a medical setting or another kind of public setting. And then, of course, learning how to work with the research that's already been done by other researchers. So having that scholarly and disciplinary literacy, and applying those research skills so that you're kind of come out of the program with a full skill set that if you decide to not pursue health research, you can take into almost any other area. So I mentioned earlier that the program is collaborative and inquiry-based. So what exactly does that mean? So in every year of the program, we have a set of courses that we call our core courses, our inquiry courses, where students actually from all three majors come together and learn about research approaches, health research literacy, academic writing, and do group work with each other so that they can apply a lens to health from various different perspectives. So even if you are a bioinformatics major, you need to be able to communicate with people in public health, like from the health and society major. And you need to also be able to communicate with biomedical researchers. And in these courses is that opportunity to do that, particularly in the first 2 years. Inquiry-based learning is actually the tool that we use to inspire our students to find the areas of interests that they have. So there's a lot of opportunity to foster that curiosity that you might have. You don't even probably know the breadth of possibilities of that are out there for you. So this gives you an opportunity to explore so many different areas before you have to start even thinking about specific research projects. And in these courses, the students are the drivers of the learning. So they are not kind of a sit down lecture based, memorize things and write a multiple choice exam. They're very much applied. They are about answering research questions, developing your own research question, actually, that you then go ahead and figure out how you're going to answer. And then you have to actually present that to the class. And a lot of what we do, and you see the photograph on top, is really through group work. So that requires that collaborative, um, approach to health, which is actually how health research is done. So there's really no impactful health research that happens that doesn't happen in teams. So from the very beginning, our students learn how to work in these diverse interdisciplinary teams so that you can get used to how health research actually happens. In the third year, the biomedical science and bioinformatics majors actually do one inquiry course. The health and society students do a separate inquiry course just in the third year so that they're both prepared with with the adequate research skills that you need for then your fourth year where everyone comes back together, but does an honors thesis. So another unique feature of our program is that we are an honors program, which means everyone in the program is expected to complete up through an honors thesis. And you can see on the bottom photo here that's presented, these are three of our students who graduated 2 years ago, and they've got their honors thesis exam finished t-shirts that says I survived and I thrived. So it's a big deal. It's a major skill. It's a huge learning milestone for our students. And it is an incredibly impactful part of our students' learning. So I also mentioned that it's research intensive. So I'll mention our inquiry courses, which means we have research embedded in our curriculum. Outside of those core courses, students have the opportunity to also explore different areas of research with various different faculty through independent study courses that you can do, meaning you pair up with a faculty member of your choice, you come up with a project together, and we make it into a semester long or a full year course. So you get course credit towards your degree, but then you have to actually, go through this project through this year-long research experience. So it's a really great way to explore a variety of different topics, again, so that you can start to get a feel about what interests you, what areas really you're becoming passionate about that you really want to learn more about. And that can often lead into your honors thesis, but not necessarily. You can do it in something completely different. Aside from the research that's actually embedded in the curriculum, we also offer research opportunities outside of the curriculum. So um, at the moment, this is a suite of summer studentships. The University of Calgary does actually a really great job about funding undergraduate summer research. So there is a centralized system where students can apply for basically it's to get paid to do research during the summer. So it's a pretty fantastic opportunity. Uniquely to our program, even within that suite, we have a set of awards that are just for Bachelors of Health Sciences students. So we're very fortunate in that we're able to do that and provide students, most of our students actually, the opportunity to do summer research if they want it, and they qualify. The other opportunity is through our global health field courses. So we partner with the ILGH office at the Cumming School of Medicine, and that's the Indigenous Local Global Health Office. And our students will have an opportunity to be a part of a course that happens elsewhere. So most recently, we are offering a Ugandan field school where students go in the spring and spend 2 to 3 weeks in the field with students at our partner university in Uganda at Mbarara, and they work together usually on a community health project. So it's a very exciting kind of an opportunity that happens at the Cumming School of Medicine. So why would you be interested in actually being part of the BHC? So other than, obviously a very interesting curriculum and lots of really cool classes. We have, really great equipped labs, as I already mentioned. We have our own computer lab where a lot of the learning actually happens. So, and with that, we have, we're able to maintain the software needs of our students so we can keep that up to date, and also access to the high density teaching computer cluster. So that's a real benefit. We offer a number of scholarship supports. I already mentioned the summer research funding, so there's lots of supports for our students to take advantage of whatever areas interest them and they want to explore. Because we are a very small program, we have one of the best student to advisor ratios on campus. So we're really proud of that. Jennifer does an amazing job of making sure our students are supported, as does the rest of the BHSC office. And we have, I'm very proud to say, an award-winning set of teaching faculty and program staff who actually really care about students. And the small size classes are also a huge benefit. So if you are someone who is curious, if you feel like you've got some creativity you want to explore, you like to work with others, and you have that kind of interest in all various aspects of health, then the BHSC program is for you. So we want to really enhance a student's ability to learn and have an actual 4 years of growth. So this is really the program where you can come in and you can do what we call take some intellectual risks. So, you might take something that's a little bit that you never thought you'd be interested in. And you have that ability to explore that. And we support that in all of our students. And that's what health research is about. So health research isn't about memorizing facts and, processes in health. There's a little bit of that so you can get your foundational knowledge, sure. But health research is actually about being really creative, taking new approaches, right? If we knew the answers to everything, nobody would need to do it. So in order to do health research, you have to be willing to kind of delve a little into the unknown, right? And so if this kind of thing really inspires you, then I would strongly encourage you to apply to our program. Just a little kind of aside, we offer some other enrichment opportunities too. We said I support, I and the rest of the office all support students taking kind of a balanced approach to their academics. So we offer mentorship programs. We offer a buddy program where junior students or incoming students are paired with senior students so they can get a little bit of insight into, student life as you come into the program. We have a program engagement specialist who isn't here tonight, but who really organizes with the student groups and through the BHSC office a lot of different community building activities, some really fun things that come through our office, lots of different events that happen throughout the year. One of them including a BHSC research symposium that happens every January, where students get to spotlight the research that they've been doing throughout their programs. So it might be summer research, it might be practicum research or thesis research. And then we have other ways to engage our students too, so that we're always connected. So it's one of the perks of being in a small program for sure. If there are any dinos athletes out there, please don't think that this is not the program for you. We've supported many dino athletes quite successfully through our program, many of who are quite high achieving both academically and in their chosen varsity sport. So this is just a very quick snapshot of our more recent athletes, but every year we get a new group of students and there's always a few dinos in there. So we're happy to support dinos athletes as they come into the program. Their program might look a little different, might take a little bit longer, or there might be some different things that you have to do to arrange your coursework to make that pair well with your varsity athletics, but it certainly is possible, and we've really graduated some quite successful students through our program that have also been successful in their sport. A question that we often get is, what do I do with this degree? So unlike a management degree or an accounting degree or engineering or something that seems very terminal, where you know exactly where the route is. The BHSC program, I like to think of it as it actually opens a number of doors. So sometimes it is challenging to have all of these options before you, but isn't it better to have all of these choices than to have none at all? Right? So we have our students who go on to do such an incredible diversity of things. So being a health program, naturally, some of our students are interested in medical school, and about a third, roughly, will head into that career path. Another roughly third of our students actually pursue health research at a more kind of professional level and will go into graduate school. Um, some are actually in health research kind of oriented programs, but others explore things like health policy, a lot of masters of public health, different graduate programs across the gamut of possibilities. Some will go into other professional programs, so veterinary medicine, law, those are some of the most common, but really there is no end to the possibilities. I'm currently writing reference letters for occupational and speech therapy. So lots of different options. And then a small portion of our group will go out and explore what's out there in the workforce with the skills that they have built. And that's why we also focus on those transferable skills around communication and working with others, being accountable, and being able to be a critical thinker that will take you into success into any work environment, not just within health research. Okay, so this last slide I have for you. Applying to the BHSC program is a little different than applying to some of the other undergraduate programs. So there's the general University of Calgary application, which you must complete, but then there's also a supplementary application. So your application to our program is not complete until we've received both of those components. So it's really important that when you apply, you also do your supplementary application and you try and get that submitted as early as possible. We consider two components. So of course we consider your high school grades, and our admission average is about 87% and over. Uh, and you see some of the courses that are required there. We also consider, along with your grades, the score you get on that supplementary application. So our supplementary application is made up of 4 questions that are actually scored by 3 independent reviewers. So you get 3 separate scores. There's an average score to that, and that's what's considered for your entrance. So it's not just based on grades. It's a combination of both. The supplementary application is a really great way for us to get to know our applicants. So please be aware that we are not looking for a specific answer in any form. We are really just looking for the questions to be responded to by you. So be you, respond to those alone. So no use of AI, don't have anyone else edit or even write your responses. We're really looking for authentic responses and to tell us a little bit of whether you're a good match for the program, but also whether this program is a good match for you. So it does work both ways. As an honors program, only applicants who select us as their first choice are actually considered for admission. So if you've listed us as a second choice in your application, you won't be reviewed. Because we rely on 3 reviewers for our supplementary application, our admission process takes a bit of time. So we will get our first offers rolled out roughly late December, early January, and then we continue our admissions until all of our seats are filled. So if you are really interested in pursuing a major within our program that's going to inspire you to be curious, to really try and figure out a little bit about who you are and what your interests are in this giant area of health, I would encourage you to apply early. So the sooner you apply, the sooner we can start considering your application for admission. So again, that includes both your basic application and your supplementary application. So with that, I just want to close off. So This is one of my favorite things that happens every year. So at the very end of the honors thesis, every student gets to do an oral exam. We call it a defense, where they talk about their research that they've done for that honors thesis work. And then at the end of that day, we all come together and we have a huge celebration. And this is what you see here. This is last year's class, last year's MDSC 508 class. That's our honor thesis course. They've all got their t-shirts on and look at how happy they are. So at this point, nobody knows their grades, that they all know that they just had this incredible learning experience and they've really grown and now they're getting ready to graduate, most of them. So if you do have questions, specific questions later on, you can connect with us through the BHSC website, which is there, or please email bhsc@ucalgary.ca. The best way to get your questions answered and for us and to get in touch with our office is really email. The phone traffic is just too much. Our voicemail boxes are full. We can't check them anymore. So please just come through the email if you have questions. So with that, I think we'll open it to the questions that students have. So Jennifer, do you want to, should I think I might come off of this slide. What do you think?
Some of the questions have been answered very capably by future students. One question, though, is how many students are we planning to admit?
Oh, that's a great question. So again, I mentioned several times this is a small program. So we only admit about 105 students a year. So that's across the three majors together. So that is our incoming class for the year. It allows us to offer students those research experience and those research placements. So, and we have this kind of intimate community of learners that we get to go through.
Another interesting question is where do our graduates go? What kind of careers have they headed into?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just realized I didn't have that slide in there. But they go into a vast number of careers. So, like I mentioned, some of the professional careers like law, veterinary medicine, physiotherapy, genetic counseling, medical school. So, all those are options. But we've had a lot of actually entrepreneurial students who have gone on to start their own businesses. Some of them are health or health technology related, but others are like life coaching and we have a group of students who started a web-based tutorial company. We have another group of students who started a coffee company. So, there's a vast array of options of professional careers where our students end up. Often it might mean a step of graduate school between us and that final career, but not all the time. And I will say, out of all the majors, the bioinformaticians are the most sought after immediately after graduation.
Somebody would like confirmation that the supplementary application cannot be revised or edited by a peer.
That is what we would prefer. Yes. So this really should reflect you. So we're not looking for super polished writing. I mean, please do edit your own work for, grammar and so your responses can be understood. But what we're looking for is something that sounds like you. So we really do encourage you to respond to those questions on your own, and you shouldn't need to have them edited by anyone.
Is the application process different for out-of-province applicants?
No, it's all the same. Similar across the board. And there's, I can finally see the questions here. So there is not one more competitive major out of the three majors necessarily. We have different numbers of spots in the different majors. And what we just look at the grades and scores and then see how it all plays out across the three majors. There's a question about, do we consider volunteering certain experiences? No, we don't. When you look at the supplementary application, you will know why I say that. You will see the questions and you will realize that those questions are not about that kind of experience. We're very mindful not everybody has the privilege of having that kind of experience. People have all kinds of different interests, all kinds of different life circumstances. So, and it doesn't make you better or worse equipped for university, whether you've had those or not. Um, but what does make you equipped for our program is how the kind of critical thinker you are, the kind of openness you have, the maturity. So that's more what we look for rather than, have you done a specific thing? I'm going to let you take this question, Jennifer. Are there benefits to doing advanced placement courses?
In the admissions process to doing advanced placement, but participation in advanced placement does give you familiarity with certain subject matters that you will be covering in the program. So that's a personal thing. It does not, however, give you any advantage in the admissions process.
Okay, I have a question here. If I want to pursue health and society, would my interest in Native studies be facilitated? Would I be able to concentrate something more targeted to Indigenous health and wellness? Also, because it's an honors program, is still room for me also take classes like neuroscience, etc., to prepare you for the MCAT. Okay, there's a lot of questions in there. So I'm going to start with the first one. So as a health and society student within those concentrations, you can certainly focus on some of your more senior coursework if you can manage it into more Native studies, Indigenous studies. You also have a number of options that you can take that fits into. We've had students doing a minor in various different disciplines, so you could most certainly undertake a minor in Indigenous studies. So that's something you can explore once you're in the program. Minors you don't have to declare for quite some time, but if it's an area of interest, for sure, we will do what we can within the parameters of the degree to facilitate you learning the things that you really are passionate about learning about. You're asking, so hopefully that answers your second question about there is room to take other courses, and it's up to you what you want to use those courses for. Of course, we have lots of students who take courses that they think are going to help them prepare for the MCAT, but you can also take courses that you're super interested in that are going to enhance a number of your other skills. I don't, Jennifer, do you have an answer to the final part of that question? Fee
Uh,
waiver for Indigenous?
that question will need to be answered by future students about a fee waive. If the fee is waived, if you are applying as an Indigenous student.
Hi, yeah, I can answer that one really quick. So we do have a couple opportunities available to get that fee waiver. So typically we're saying if you're able to attend one of our events, so an advising day or something virtual, um, you can definitely send us an email as well. I'll answer the email in the chat that you can send us to, and then we can talk about that as well, a little bit more specifically too.
Good, thank you. Um,
The next question is really important. Can you just switch between the majors after your first year? Dr. Ting, would you care to answer that?
yeah, so the short answer to that is no, not typically. So our streams fill up, our different majors fill up pretty quickly in that first year, and there isn't really space for students to move around. So the major that you apply in should be the major that you intend to complete in the program. Jennifer, would you like to add anything to that?
No,
Perfect.
that's a perfect answer.
Yeah, oh, this is also a good question. If the university has reviewed my second choice, but I've submitted, so some of you may have gotten offers from your second choice programs already, but have only just submitted your supplementary application or are in that process. Can you still be considered? Most certainly. Yes, you'll still consider it. So I explained we have a slightly different process, so it takes us just a bit longer. But if we were your first choice, then you will have been filed over to us by the registrar's office. And so we will be able to consider you with your supplementary application and your grades as we make those decisions. So hang tight. How many applicants do we get each year, Jennifer?
We usually get somewhere between 800 and 900 files to render decisions on. Your application is first reviewed by the admissions. They send us the files of all applicants that are eligible for an admission decision. That number does vary from year to year, though.
Mhm.
But bottom line is it is a competitive process.
It is. So it actually is in your best interest to apply early with your full supplementary application, so that you can kind of be constantly in that pool to be considered. Our seats do fill up quick. If you're accepted in grade 12 based on, yeah, and this is very typical. So most students are accepted based on your grade 11 grades, right? Most of you haven't completed a lot. You may have completed one or two of your 30 level courses or grade 12 level courses. So we're mindful of that. But if your GPA decreases by 1 to 5%, do we reconsider? Well, that's kind of a tough question. It depends. Is it 1% or is it, 5 to 10%? So you have to keep above that admission average for sure. But Jennifer, what can you add?
I would just say the minimum students need to have, their admission average needs to be 87 at a minimum to be eligible for consideration. So if your final high school average for the prerequisite courses that we have outlined earlier falls a lot below 87, then yes, it might be reconsidered. But if it's in that 87 range, you should be fine.
So just looking at a couple questions here around the supplementary application. We don't know the lag between when you've applied and when you submit your supplementary application, so it's absolutely no impact. The only impact it has is we don't get to see it and review it until it's fully complete. So, the longer you wait on that, the longer it is that we get to see your file. So complete, as soon as you feel ready and comfortable to do so. How are the spots dispersed across the three majors? Does biomedical sciences have more seats? So in short answer, yes. The way we structure our program is according to the kind of research opportunities we have available to our students. So the health and society and the bioinformatics majors are kept smaller because we have a smaller number of research faculty who can take those students on for practicum and research experiences. And we just happen to have more biomedical science researchers that are able to provide those experiences to our students. So that's why in every year you always see there's a smaller number in bioinformatics and health and society, but that's by design. Is bioinformatics a course that just started? You can take a bioinformatics minor. You can apply for that starting in your second year. It is an application process into that minor, but that is definitely possible. So this bioinformatics major has been running for but almost 10 years actually, right, Jennifer?
The minor has, but the major has been in place since the program's inception. One thing to note about the minor is the bioinformatics minor is only open to certain majors. So it's open to health and society major in our program, faculty of science, not all faculty of science majors.
Our program does not have high school internships or anything of the like. We save all of our research opportunities for students enrolled in our program. Yeah, and again, I'll just reiterate, there's a couple of another question around, all the application processes are the same. So you must meet the same thresholds, same grades. Sure, there's probably some equivalents that have to happen, but you must have a good supplementary application score and an adequate average in the set of courses that are required for entry into our program.
For the question, can you apply to one major as your first choice and another major as your second choice? No, you can't. You can only apply to one of the majors in the program, and it must be indicated as your first choice on your application.
Mhm. I guess this question kind of dovetails on that about second year admission. Unfortunately, we cannot guarantee that we will have spots for a second year intake. So again, because our program tends to be quite full, and so on occasion we may have spots, but quite rarely. So for example, last year we did not take any second year entry into our biomedical sciences major. It was just really full. So it changes from year to year, but I'd say the trend has been that there are very, very few spots available, if any, across our majors for second year entry. IB scores, Jennifer, do you know about that, or do we need to defer that to admissions?
No, all the calculation of IB scores into a percentage is done by the admission. That's a great question to send to the admissions team.
And I believe that's
Those aren't
admission.
calculations we make at the score that you would need to apply.
Let's see. The fee to apply to our program is just the general application fee that happens. So when you apply to the University of Calgary, there is a fee for that. There is nothing above and beyond that for our program. We do have a lot of local students, but we also have a lot of out of province students, and we have international students as well. So we do not necessarily look at whether you're local or out of province to fill our seats. I think this question might be about the bioinformatics minor. Is it open to computer science majors? And I believe it is.
Yes, the bioinformatics minor is open to computer science majors.
Okay, if you get declined for early apps in one major, can you apply? So applications are kind of ongoing. We don't, we have our first set of offers and then go on from there. But you have one application into one minor or one major, and that's your application. So when you're declined from our program, it's not because you're declined from the major that you applied to. It's just you're just don't have a spot in the program in general, and that's for all three majors. That makes sense, Jennifer? Did I say that right?
I think so. Bottom line, if you get declined for one major, no, you cannot reapply to another. So no.
It's a general.
I mean, you can't apply to a different major within the BHSC program.
Yeah. You certainly can apply to the U of C at large. Yeah, to other programs across U of C for sure. Can you do a minor in biomedical sciences? No. So we do offer minors in bioinformatics, as we've already talked about, but also we offer a minor in health and society, but we do not have a minor in biomedical sciences. Oh, this is a good question for future students. This is a question about residents and should they apply for residence at the same time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you're able to apply for residence anytime after November 1st up until May 1st. So you can apply right away after you've applied for admission and you get access into that student center, which is where your whole application is going to live. You're able to apply for residence from that website, and then you're able to do that anytime before May 1st to have that guaranteed spot for your first year.
You can see which of our courses are required on our website. If you go into the apply now kind of admissions and general for UCalgary, actually offers a very nice pull down system where you can indicate whether you are an Alberta student or you're applying from outside of Alberta, and it'll walk you through what the requirements are for high school grades. I'm assuming you're going to be a high school applicant to this question, whoever's asking this question. So it'll actually give you a list of the required courses and the list of the courses which are possible for that fifth course that we consider. So I'd encourage you to look at that there. After you're accepted, I think we've answered this question already. If your average drops below our 87%, we will reconsider your offer. So there, you actually receive the link for the supplementary, excuse me, application once you submitted your application to the University of Calgary. So we don't have a link to send. That is something you will receive once that first part has been done. And that is a link for you and you only. So they're unique in that way. So there's a question about maybe, having to leave the program after second year. So there are academic requirements that need to be met. So depending on, what happens in your first year, there are lots of different student standings that can happen. I say, try and enter a program without thinking about that. Give yourself a chance. I think you are probably underselling yourself. We provide lots of supports for our students in our program to succeed. So we're here to support our students even when first year is a struggle. So first year is a struggle, and this is not just our program, but across the board. Transitioning from high school learning to high school learning is real. I know it sounds like it should be like kind of a smooth curve. It's actually kind of a leap from one threshold to another. So we do have a lot of supports both at a program level and at the level of the university to make sure that you don't have to think about what might happen for your second year other than what great opportunities lie ahead for you. And yes, we are currently entering our first round of reviews for our supplementary applications. So that's why December, January will be our first round that goes out once we get all those scores and do all of the things that need to happen for admission decisions. We do not rank our students. So this, that is one thing about our program that I'm actually very proud of. We we want our students to support each other so that we have a community of learning that everyone can be successful in. So we don't provide student rankings. That's not a thing we do. Um, there are things like Dean's List standing that can happen. So you can find that information on the university website, generally speaking. And there are, as an honors program, you will graduate with an honors degree. So that is a distinction you get on your degree when you graduate. But within the program, all of our students are equally achieving at the place where we want them to achieve, which is where they are achieving. So no rankings. I love this question. That is the way the program works. It's hard to get in, but once you get in, you're on the path to success. I suppose that depends on what your path, how you define path of success. So inevitably, whatever a student does is the student's choice. But we do offer a whole range of supports to make sure students have choices that they can make that support the road that they want to travel. So we have Jennifer, who is our student advisor, who works one-on-one with many of our students. So as a smaller program, we have that great ratio that I already mentioned. We have professors who care about you. But in the end, it is hard work. So there is, it's definitely a two-way street. So once you get into the program, there's no guarantee. There is no guaranteed, I don't know, marker of success, I would say, other than to say, if you throw yourself in what I like to call whole hog, you give it your all, you really are about learning and trying to figure yourself out, are willing to take the bumps and bruises that come along with that path and really learn from those. I think you're on a path to success no matter where you go. So we're here to support that for sure. But a lot of it will also be, how a student approaches their learning as well. Do you have anything related to psychology? I'm not really sure about that question, but we have a concentration in psychology for our health and society majors, but it is quite limited. So if you're really interested in psychology, I would encourage you to explore the Faculty of Arts and their offerings there. Oh, will all students be studying on both campuses? This is an exciting question. So it can be a bit of a challenge. So we have the two campuses. So most of our health science courses are offered at the Foothills campus tend to happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays. As you get into your more senior years, that can vary a little bit. But then you also do a number of classes on main campus. So uh, our first and second year students in particular are doing quite a bit of back and forth between. There's a great system that students seem to have figured out. We've got buses that go between the two campuses, and we also, try to facilitate that with the timing of our courses. But it's one of the perks of being able to kind of belong to two communities. So you belong to both, the learning community over at the Cumming School of Medicine, but then you're also belong to whatever's happening on main campus. So it can be quite rich. It has a few challenges, but I think most students, for the most part, would tell you that this is a really enjoyable part of their learning. So lab work can happen both on our campus and on main campus. Most research done in groups with a teacher supervisor. This is a really great question about research. So in the first few years, more, I would say you're not necessarily in our courses. You are taking other courses on main campus where there is lab work, but in our BHSC inquiry course, it is more class-based and group-based. You're doing the research that requires you to actually engage with the scholarly literature and kind of build those foundations on what other researchers have done and how to take that and critically analyze it so you can move that into the next logical question. However, after your first year, you can do independent study courses, which offer that one-on-one research experience, and then curricularly, there's kind of a bit of a mix of the kind of research-based opportunities that can happen. So I'd say there's a little bit of both. So we are trying to build those collaborative skills, which happen through our inquiry courses, but there are more opportunities as well. If you're interested in graduate studies, I would encourage you to go to the Faculty of Graduate Studies website and see the programs that are offered through the Cumming School of Medicine. So there is a gamut of master's and PhD programs not affiliated with our program at all. They're quite separate, but they are housed within the same faculty. So about learning styles, I like these questions too. So we try to make sure our students are really well equipped with a very broad range of skills. We do very little of the sit and memorize and what we call kind of learn and regurgitate kind of offerings, specifically through our health sciences courses. But there is both individual components to our coursework and group-based components to our coursework. So you have to be able to be motivated to, work to your own deadlines individually, but you also have to learn how to be accountable to a group project and to share that building of a timeline with others. So it is definitely a mix of both, and that happens throughout all the 4 years for sure. Physical accessibility. I think this is a great question, moving between the two campuses. Um, I think we can try and figure out how we can best assist to do that. It is, so, you do have to probably take public transit um, back and forth, and some of that can be accessible. But I think this would be a great question to connect with our student accessibility services. Jennifer, do you have any advice on this one?
No, but we do have a history of students that have managed it. It just takes some careful planning, and we would we would work collaboratively with the student to find the best way to manage it. I can address, does taking a minor mean overloading your schedule? Um, Not necessarily, and it would depend on which minor you would complete. It is possible to complete certain minors within the 120 units required for the degree program. You do have places for options, different types of options, senior options, open options within your program, and that is where the overlap could happen. We work collaboratively with our students that have minors to help them plan how to incorporate the minor into their program along with their major.
Ooh, yes. So if you are doing a biomedical sciences major, you most certainly can do a health and society minor. And in fact, we have a number of our students who do that, and it really rounds out your understanding of health and health issues. So you can take everything from, how would you develop something like a vaccine to moving it into how do you create policy to make sure that vaccine is accessible and affordable and something that people will actually want to actually use. So we certainly encourage that as well. Oh, we have one. I will actually answer this question because I do think it's an important one. We don't, we're not heavy on English courses per se, in that we don't require a whole slew of English courses, but we do have a focus on academic writing. So yes, writing skills are quite important in our program. It doesn't mean you have to come in with the most polished research or writing skills already. I mean, it helps if you have a little bit of the basic structure, you know how to build a paragraph, that kind of thing. But certainly in that first year, there is an emphasis on getting those academic writing skills up to a certain level, and then that continues throughout the program. And it culminates with an honors thesis, which you write. So this is quite a large document that you are communicating your research skills through. So academic writing is a big part of our program for sure. I think this will be the last question. Is there math involved in the courses? So math is a required component for biomedical science and bioinformatics majors. It is a requirement, a prerequisite for a number of courses. So in that, those courses incorporate different aspects of math. So hopefully that answers that question. Oh, okay. I keep saying it's going to be the last question, but this is actually going to be the last question because this is a good one. The honors thesis is actually based on the major that you undertake. So if you're in a biomedical sciences program, you will expect it that your minor be focused on a biomedical sciences question and methodology. So if you even if you had a minor in health and society, you could not do a qualitative honors thesis. You could include a small aspect of your thesis that might be more health and society focused. That's not unusual. But the body of your thesis would be biomedical science based. So it would be, it definitely has to reflect the major that you are completing. Okay, that's a great question to end with because that's, the big culmination of our program is that, but it's a great opportunity to watch your students learn and grow up until that fourth year honors thesis. It's pretty exciting, actually. So I'll just thank everyone for joining us tonight. If you have questions, please email those to bhsc@ucalgary.ca. More general questions can be sent to our admissions group over at the University of Calgary. And we look forward to reviewing your applications. So good luck to everyone. Good night.